Good morning, everyone. We'll start in a couple of minutes. Okay, guys, yeah, let's start. So today we are going to see some Java basics programs. So let me create one package saying Java programs. I'll create one class. Let's say we'll take input from the user and then we'll just print whatever the input user has entered. So I'll create a class called input from user. We'll take a main. Generally, how we take input from the user, in the sense like whenever we execute, when that line is executed, so here on the console we will be taking the input. So for that we need to, again, just like we create objects, right? The same way we need to create object for this scanner class. So scanner, I would say input equals to new scanner of system dot in. This is generally the basic syntax for creating of the scanner object. And now when you just mouse over, you would get some import actions. So take this from the utils, take that, and then we have the object called input. So input dot, when you say, so what type of these things we can take. So we have as next. So here we'll take next. So scanner, so string. So when if we want input from the user with a string, so we can take next or next line as well. So for integer, we can take next int. For float, we can take this double. So for now, I'll just take next. Since str input, I would say. So this is string input. I would create an object. And then since the type of this would be again string, we need to create the type. And after that, if you just want to print uh, the string input from the user is whatever the user gives. So that same thing will just display on the console. So now if I execute, you see on the console what happens. So you see execution is still in progress, but nothing is displayed. So what's happening is actually it's waiting for this input, and there is no such message over here saying, okay, if we have to wait or if we have to enter. So here, if you see, if I enter, say Pradeep, and I say enter, as soon as I say enter, you see this line got executed, and then after that, whatever we said. So the string input from the user is whatever we have given. So here message was not shown, right? Now after that, execution was completed. So for better and clear understanding, what we can do is here itself we can say them. So whenever we are trying to take some input, better to let the user know that we are waiting for their inputs. So now here we'll say enter string input, some kind of message. Now if you execute, you see on the console, it says enter string input. It has executed this, and now it is waiting at this particular line, 14th line. And now wherever we just enter, so here or here, let's say we'll enter again ABCD. As soon as I enter that and then hit enter button, the next line gets all the lines execute. So here we have just written one line, which is this line. So it has executed. So same way, now let's say if you want integer. So we have already created object for that. So input dot next int is the syntax for that. Again, this, if you just say we just want to print and we don't want to store, that depends on us. If you want to store in some variable and do something with that input, then that's fine. For now, I'll just print whatever the user enters. So here I'm asking for the next input. So execute, enter string input. I would enter ABCD and hit enter. The string input from the user is ABCD, and again it has not ended because still again it's waiting for this particular input, which is an integer. And now here, instead of integer, let's say we just try to enter something, some string or irrelevant. So as soon as you enter, you see what exception we get: input mismatch exception. So because it was expecting integer, but here we have got the user has given string, so it has thrown an error. So now again, when you enter, so enter things in proper way. So some string, and then the next one is some number. That's it. So whatever we have entered is what printed here. Or we can again show for a better understanding, the number entered by the user is this thing. This thing, and here since we are waiting for input, we can also say that enter a number. Now if you execute, you see first one, this gets executed, it is waiting for this input. Let's say I've given some input, enter, then this executed, and after that again it is waiting, enter a number, so it's waiting here. So I say I've entered 90 and enter. So the number entered by the user is 90. So with this, inputs, we can do something. So we can store this in some variable, and again, like say addition of two numbers if we just want to perform. So enter a number, we can ask, and this number we can store in some variable called number1. Again, ask another number from the user, number2, and then add the addition, do the addition of both numbers, and then show the result. Like, just like addition or subtraction, whatever you want to do, perform that particular action, and then display it to the user. So that way we can use it. So this is about taking input from the user. Now we'll just check the another basic program, which is we'll ask from the user input, and whatever the user enter a number, will check whether that number is odd or even. So for that, I'll create one class, check odd or even. I'll take main method, and then in this method, so again same thing. So we need a number from the user, right? We already had written. So we need to create again object of this. Just to save time, I'll just copy paste, and then so this gives a number, right? So we're also asking to print. So enter a number, we'll say, for a message. Enter a number to check if it's odd or even. And then this one we will store in a variable called number, right? And then we have a number now. So how to know, how to check whether a particular number is odd or even? Does someone know what's the logic behind this? Can someone say me? That's fine. So to find a number is odd or even, basically if we just divide a number by 2 when we are dividing, so in general sense, so here, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 are all odd numbers because that is not divisible by 2, right? Same way, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and whatever it is. So all this, since these are divisible by 2, we call it as even. Same way, so whether a number is odd or even, we just have to divide that particular number by 2, and it should give us reminder or result as 0, or like a reminder as 0, which means in that case we can tell that a particular number, whatever it is an even number. So same way we just have to write in this programmatical way. So how do we check for a number? So we have a number variable, whatever we enter, and that number is, what we are doing is we are checking. So checking the reminder, to check a reminder of any number, so we use this percentile symbol, and that number should be equal to 0. This is what our logic would be here. So number modulo 2 is equal to 0. So this result, if it 0 is equal to 0, then in that case we get so before that, I'll again tell one more thing. how to compare two numbers or two strings. So compare two numbers and strings. So let's say we have a number int num1 equals to 10, int num2 equals to 20. And now we want to compare number one and number two, if it is equal, less than, or greater than. So less than, greater than you already know, but equal, if you have to do, what we'll do, we'll use if condition and say num1 equal to num2. This is the syntax for comparing two numbers. So whichever numbers you want to compare, say number one equal to number two. Why double equal to? Because single if equal to, if you say, this is nothing but you're trying to assign this value to this variable. But here we don't want to assign, right? We just want to compare those two. So that's why syntax Java internally they have built a syntax called double equal to for a number. So if number one equal to number two, we'll get the output. Let's say we can print equal numbers. For now, only this thing. Like if I execute, so since these two numbers are not equal, it is not printing anything. So that's why we need to have an else statement here. Else only if condition. This block would be executed only when this condition is true, right? So in that way, since the two numbers are not equal, it is not going to if block, and else we have not returned. That's why it was not printing anything. It was not doing anything. So here we'll say not equal. And when I execute, so it says not equal because 10 is not equals to 20. And here if we just change, okay, 10 is equals to 10. Now it should give us this result, right? So if you execute, you see equal numbers, which means this condition is satisfied. And here, so to compare a number, we use this double equal to. Now instead of this, let's say we had strings. So string str1, let's say one string I've given pdp. So string, again we have second string. Here we have abc. Instead of this, again the other way to declare a string is what? New string of, this way also we can create, I said, right? So let's take this one for now for the understanding that I want you to show. So here we have two strings. Value is string one value is pdp, string two value is abc. So now this two, let's say if you want to compare, so how do you compare? So again, same condition, same thing. Can we do it? So if str1 equal to str2, let's say if we just want to equal this, and then else so we'll say equal, and here we'll say not equal. So now these two things, now if we execute, you see what happens. So this thing I just don't want now, not to confuse you. So how to comment multiple lines? Just say forward slash star and then till where you want. Till here I just want to comment, say star forward slash. So comment that and I execute now. So it says not equal because we know, okay, this is already not equal. So what if I give pdp? These two things, two strings, both are same, right? So now if we try to execute this one, you see what it should give us. It should give this equal, saying okay, these two things are equal, right? But what happens? It is not equal. Why? Reason being, so for string comparison, if you are using double equal to, it doesn't compare the value in it. It actually tries to compare the address where this particular strings are stored. So it compares the address for this double equal to. But here we just don't want to compare the address. We just want to compare the strings, right? The value content of that. So instead of using double equal to for strings, we need to use string whatever we enter dot equals a method, and then yeah, we want to equal it to string2 and then execute. Now if you see, so this string1 is equal to string2, and then we have got this equal. So same way, if it is a different one, something else, and if I run, so these two strings are not equal, and then it gives us the correct result. So this is what we wanted, right? So for string we use dot equals method. For number we use just equal to equal to. So same way, now let's say here what are we doing? Here we wanted to compare again one number with the other number. So number is here what, 0, and then the result of this. So number modulo 2. That's why we are using, for number we are using double equal to compare. Again in this we'll say if this particular thing. So what is this? Reminder. Basically we are checking whatever number user gives us, that we are dividing with 2 and checking if it is equal to 0. So if it is, which means reminder of that particular number is 0, then in that case we will say number whatever is given is even, else number is odd. And now let me execute it. So it says enter a number to check if it's odd or even. I would enter, let's say 8, and we know 8, this is even, right? And all these are odd. So I'm giving 8, let's say. So 8 should give us even. So if I run, sorry, I've already executed. So 8 I enter, and then hit an enter button. So it says number is even. So same way for odd now, if you want to say. So again, we'll execute and give some odd number, which is what, 13 also we can say, since this is not divisible by 2. And if we enter, it says number is odd. So this is about how to know a number is even or odd. So yeah, someone wants to ask any doubts? Is everything clear? Can someone confirm?
Yes.
Okay, Anusha. Yeah. So yeah, if so, anyone doesn't have any doubts, then we'll move with the next ones. So here, what are we doing? We're asking the user input, and then we are doing this, right? We also know how to print numbers from 1 to 100 or 100 to 1, right? So I'll show print numbers. For now, I'll just use this. So if you want to just print our numbers from 1 to 100, we can use for loop, for, and then this syntax I've already told you, right? So starts with 1. So this what we are declaring, initializing that value, and then we just compare condition less than or equals to 100, I would say, and then I plus plus. So 1 to 100 if I just want to print. So we use this loop, and here we'll just print I. I is what? First iteration, the value would be, it is 1, right? So 1 is less than or equals to 100, and then 1 is printed. Next time it increments that value to 2, and then 2 is less than or equals to 100, it checks it is true, then it comes in the block, again it executes 2 and prints 2, and then it checks this thing. So if I just put a for loop debugger here, if I just again want to show you. So here, as soon as I execute this line, you see I value is 1 and this condition is satisfied. It checks this satisfied, and now it is about to print this thing. So if I just say run, so it prints this I value. I value was 1. It has printed. Now again here it is incrementing this value. So I plus plus, if you see from 1 it goes to plus 1 would be what? 2. Then 2 this line, so it executes again. 2 is printed. Same way now it increments again, and 3, so it prints 3. Likewise 4, you see it's printing one by one. You see 7, and now if you just execute 8, 9, 10. So likewise till when the loop is satisfied. Sorry, I'll just terminate. So I'll execute it again. You see 1 to 100 it has executed because we have asked to print it, right? So this way we know this would give us numbers from 1 to 100. So same way if we want to print from 100 to 1, let's say, how to do? So initial value we know it should be 100, right? So that's why initial value whatever we want we will give it here. Or again our next loop I'll take. So this I'll say print 1 to 100 is this, and then print 100 to 1. So how to do? For again we know initial value it should be I equals to what? 100. What should be the condition? So we want it to be printed till 1, right? So I should be greater than or equals to 1, because after 1 if the value becomes 0 we don't want that to be printed, 0 or -1 or whatever it is. So we don't want, that's why we give this particular condition. So from 100 to 1, and then what we have to do? Do we have to increment? If we increment from 100 it increases, say 101, and then 102, 103. Do we want that? No, right? So we want that value to be decreasing. So that's why instead of plus plus we give minus minus here. So I minus 1 basically what we are doing here. Same thing, print this. We are printing I. And now for this two things, if you see, so print 1 to 100, it has printed till 100, and then print 100 to 1 we say. From 100 it is printing, right, till 1. So this is how you can do this. Now same thing I just let's say in check odd or even. So this we were taking input from user, right? And now so in 1 to 100 I want to check. So here itself will take. So in 1 to 100 I want to say whatever number is, which one is odd and which one is even, if you want to do that. So how to do? So I'll just comment this one for now. I want only numbers which are printing from 1 to 100. Yes. And in this, I don't want to print 1 to 100. I want to say 1 when it says, so 1 is odd. Then next one, 2. 2 is even. 3. 3 is odd. 4. 4 is even. So I want that way. So for that, how to do? We know how to check number is odd or even, right? So we generally write if condition and whatever number we have. So first time we have 1, right? So that is stored in I. So for now here I will use I. I is what? How to check? Modulo 2 equal to 0. So if whatever number for instance 1 is divisible, like a reminder when you check with 2 wouldn't give us 0, so it would give us it would go to else condition, and in else condition, so that 1 whatever enter, so here we can say just number is odd, and then here if this condition is satisfied, same thing, number is even. So how many times does this particular loop is going to execute? We know it would start from 1. It is starting from 1 till 100. So 100 times this loop would be executed. So one by one I value would be increment. So from 1, starting from 1, 2, 3, so on till 100. So now if I execute this, you see what happens. You see. So okay. I'm saying print. I don't want to print this. So number is odd, number is even, number is odd, number is even. So this message is not clear, right? But for a better understanding, number here, what we can do again for this thing, we'll just concatenate it whatever the number is. So number is I, we know, right? So that number I, it says number equal to, again we can say number equal to whatever the number is, odd or even. We just want it that way. So so this is odd. So now this way, now you see these messages were not clear, right? But with this thing, you see number 1 is odd, number 2 is even, number 3 is odd, number 4 is even. So likewise, we have what, whichever number, 36 is odd, 38 is odd, 38 is even, 37 is odd, likewise. So this is how you can do this thing. So yeah, someone wants to ask any doubt, if everything is clear? If no one wants, clear. So if no one has any doubts, then we'll move on with the next one. So what's next? So here we'll see how to swap two numbers. Let's say swap two numbers. Basically, what we want is so initially we'll give number 1 value as, let's say, 10 and number 2 value as 20. So if this is the input, if we give number 1 is this, number 2 is this, then output should be what? Num1 equals to 20, num2 equals to 10. So this is what we want here. So input, if you give this way, this value should be interchanged for two numbers. I hope this is clear. Can someone try how we can implement this logic?
Hello. Yeah, Pradeep. For swapping of two numbers, first we need to assign number two value to the number one.
Okay. Number, let's say you want to assign number 2 value to number 1, right? Number 2
Yeah.
value to number 1 you want to assign. So this
Yeah.
is what we assign. Okay. Then what?
And for this, one more variable we can use. Before
Okay.
that, we'll assign number two value to number three. Before assigning number two to number one, we'll take
Okay.
number three.
Right. And then that you would be printing. So
Yes.
basically what we are trying to do here is, so first these two numbers we have. So here we'll declare it int num1 equals to 10, int number 2 equals to 20.
20. Yes.
So here we have.
One more variable
So
will.
before doing something, what we'll do is we'll take one temp variable. So here there are two methods for now which I want to tell you how to swap. So I would say first is using temp. So using temp variable, I want to show how to swap two numbers. So temp variable is nothing but a third variable. So what I will do is I will declare int one temporary variable, and temporary variable, let's say I would assign num1 value in it. So at this point, what would happen? So temp would be equal to 10, right? And then number 1 is having 10, number 2 is also having 20. So after that, so since we just want to swap, so in number 1, what value we want? We want value of number 2, which is 20, right? So 20 is what? Num2. So this we have assigned. So at this point of time, if we just try to print, okay, here I would print again just to show the user. So before swapping num1 I want to show, and then num2 equal to this way. So here num1 would have this, num2 would have this value, right? Then what are we doing here? We have taken a third variable, which is temp. That temp would have value of number 1, which is temp would, again, if we ask to print, it would have 10. And then this point, number 2, we are assigning it to number 1. And here if we now try to print number 1, let's say if we just want to print, so what it would give, it would give us 20. You see, I'll execute it first. So before swiping, numbers were 10 and 20. So I've said using temp variable I want to do, and then what am I did something, whatever it is, but then I'm asking to print number 1. And now at this point of time, you can see number 1 is 20. So that's what we want, right? Number 1 is 20, but we don't have number 2. So what if, let's say, you don't know this logic and you're not taking any temp variable? So what you would say, okay, num2 you can give it to num1, and then next step you can say num2 would have num1 value. So you mean just take this 20 to here and then 10 to this thing. So if we just print it, so before swapping I said, so I'll use the same thing. So after swapping, so basically 20 we are giving to num1, and then 10 we are trying to give to num2. So this way also you can say, so num1 would have 10, and then that way. Now if you execute, you see what happens. It says number 1 20. That's excellent, that's what we want. But what about num2? Num2 is also 20. Why num2 is 20? Because num1 was initially 10, but later you changed that 10 value to 20. That's why it's later when you are asking after this point of time, it is giving us the changed value and not the previous value. So for that particular reason, before we do something, we would just try to store that in a variable so that we would have access to previous value of num1. Since we are going to change num1, so original value we are just storing in some other variable. And now here, next for num1 we are getting correct value. If you see num1 we are getting correct value, but for num2 we are not getting, right? So for num2, instead of calling the changed value, we would call the original value, and original value is not num1, it is stored in temp. So here we would call temp. And now if we execute, you see num1 is 20, num2 is 10. So the numbers are swapped. So now if you change here some other numbers, let's say 70 and 90, execute. So 70, 90, so here 90, 70. You see numbers are swapping. So if you want to see step-by-step logic behind this, I'll just debug it, run. So you see number 1 is 70, number 2 is 90. Now if I execute this particular step, it prints whatever we have printed. Again, just print statement. Now we are about to initialize temp and the value as well. So you see the temp variable would come here. If we execute, temp is having 70. Why 70? Because we have given number 1. Number 1 had 70. That's why temp value was also 70. So after this point, now you closely watch this number 1 and number 2. It is 70, 90 before, but here we are doing some applying some logic, right? After this logic, what happens? So if I just execute num1 equal to num2, so this num2 90 value should go to num1. You see 90, and now 70 is nowhere. Now num1, num2 we printed earlier. That's why it was giving us same value. But then in num2, what are we assigning again? At this point, we are assigning some temp value, and temp value had number 1, previous original number 1 value. So that value is what 70. So now if you see num2 should be equal to temp. Temp is what 70. So this 70 should go to num2. Run it, and you see 70. And now after that, you are just printing it. Printed and done. That's it. So you have got the output, desired output. So using this temp variable, you can swap these numbers. So is it clear?
Yeah, clear.
What about others?
Yes, clear.
Thank you for confirming. So this was using a temp variable. Now let's say I want to. So sometimes in interview questions they would ask, so how to swap these two numbers, and then using a temp variable when you do, they also ask to do without using a temporary variable. So how to do that? So in that case, what we'll do is, I'll just comment this one since we are done with that. So again, say, let's say int num1 equals to, again, I'll take same numbers, int num2 equals to 20. And then I'm just printing it before swapping. So if I execute, num1 is 10, num2 is 20 before swapping. Now I want to write. So here we can say without temp variable. How to do? General logic if we have to build. So at the end, what we want is, we want this 10 to be 20 and 20 to be 10, right? So logic. The other one was, so how to make this 10 as 20? So we have this 10 and this 20, right? What we can do is, first time we'll just add both the numbers which we want to swap. So first step we'll just add both numbers. And assign that value to number 1. So number 1 is equal to, so 10 plus 20, right? 10 plus 20 would be 30. So what is this 10? Again, both numbers we are adding, right? So it would be num1 plus num2. So this is our first step. We'll add both the numbers. So this would give us result as 10 plus 20, which is 30, right? So number 1 would have value 30. Now next step, what you want to do in the second step. So second step, what we'll do is we will subtract this. Now 30 we have, right? And number 2, what we want, number 2, instead of 20 we want 10, right, in the result. So how can we get this 20? So we have 30. 30 minus 20 is what we get, 10, right? So that step we'll do it here. So subtract this logic, I'll say here. So what are we doing? We will, whatever the result we have got, which is 30, we are doing minus 20. 20 is what? Number 2. So number 1 minus number 2 we are doing, and that we are giving it to where? We want that value as num2. So this is our next step. So we'll subtract whatever sum we have got, that sum with the value of number 2. So that we'll store in. So at this point of time, number 2 value would be 10. Right? Now, how to get number 1 as 20? So we have 30 and we have so actually I don't have power. So can someone else share the screen? I can guide them with this particular logic. Can anyone hear me? Hello? Hello guys, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So can someone who is available on the laptop can share their screen? So
Yeah, I am sharing my screen. Yeah, let me know if you're able to see my screen.
yeah, you can see. Can you open Eclipse,
Yeah.
Shankar?
Yeah, open.
It's okay, guys. So I've got the power. So I'm just restarting my laptop, the system. So Shankar, it's okay. You can stop sharing. I'll just connect in 2 minutes, or let's say maximum
Yeah,
5 minutes.
okay.
So that 5 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. So till then, yeah, if someone have any doubts, or if no one has any doubts, then we'll just connect back again in 5 minutes. So we'll just be on hold then. So feel
Sure,
free
Pradeep.
to ask someone if anyone has any doubts. Feel free to ask.
I guess you're speaking on mute, Pradeep.
Yeah, I was not speaking. I was just sharing it. Waiting for 5 minutes to done. Yeah. So if everyone is available, then I'll just continue then. Yeah, let's continue then. So yeah, whatever we have written, since we didn't save it, everything has gone. So yeah, what we did. So without temp variable, since we wanted to do here the logic which we were writing, I said first step to add the two numbers, right? So and then we'll assign that to a variable. So we'll add number one and number two. So our logic was num1 plus num2. We need to add this and then assign this particular thing to one of this. So let's say I'm assigning it to num1. First step is clear. Next is it would give us 10 plus 20, 30. Num1 would have 30, right? So now 30. So num2, what do we want to do? Num2 should have what? 10. So if it has to have the value 10, we have 30. So 30 minus 20 would give us 10, right? So 30 is what? Num1. So here we can say num1 minus num2. So here num2 value would give us what? Num2 equals to, so 30 minus 20 is what? 10 it would give us. And now num1, do we want 30? No, right? We want it to be 20. So how to get 20? So we can again say 30 minus 10 as 20. So num1 minus num2. Again, this one we would be at this point of time, it would give us 30 minus 10, 20. That we want to num1. So num1 equals to that. And that's it. So after swapping, we can just print it. After swapping this thing. So now if you execute, or step by step, if you want me to execute, I'll execute in debug mode. Just keep a close eye on this console when it prints what it does and all these values. So here we are at this first step. What? num1 is assigned to 10. Next step, num2 was assigned, and then we are about to print this. So it has been printed, num1 and num2 values, and then again a print statement we have printed. Now here actual logic would come. So what's the logic here? Num1 equals to num1 plus num2. So num1 should be changed to 10 plus 20. So 10 plus 20 would be 30. You see, 30 we have got. Next thing, after this step, what are we doing? 30 minus 20, we are assigning to num2. So this 20 value would be changed to 10. If I execute, it is changed to 10. Now 30 minus 10 would be again changed to num1. We execute 20 and 10. Now we are just printing it. Here after swapping, number is swapped. You see, that's it. So this is without temporary variable. So is it clear, guys? Or whoever is not clear, I can again explain them.
Okay, suppose we are taking two numbers. In this case, if we have a third number like num3, and we
Right.
suppose give the value of 30, so can we swap among three numbers as well?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, you
num1
can
can be
again.
num2, num2 can be num3, and num3 can be num1, that way.
Yeah, that logic also you can implement again. So same way, step by step you need to do, and you need to create that logic on your own. So see if the same logic can be applied for more than two numbers. So in that case, if it applies, you can do it. Else again, something or the other we need to tweak it in the code, and then based on the trial and error we can get it. So yeah, beforehand, if you have that logic clear, that logic you just need to implement it.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Anyone else have any doubts? If everything is clear, can they at least confirm?
Yeah, clear.
So next, what we'll do is we'll take the largest number in an array. So we have a list of array, let's say, and numbers in an array. So how to declare that? So for now, just array. Give me just 2 minutes, guys. I've got a call. I'll just be back. Sorry to keep you waiting. Yeah, as I was saying, so we'll let's say we have an array of numbers, and then we just want to print or identify which of that number is the largest one amongst them. So if we have an array, let's say array is what we have numbers, let's say 3, 6, 2, 8, 10, 4. Let's say we have this array, and then in this array, this is the input. If we give, output should be 10, because 10 is highest, right, among this thing. So that way, if we just want to print, so how to do that? So initially we'll declare that array. So how to declare? We say we have array equals to, we can declare it the same list. Since this is numbers, so no quotes or double quotes we need to use. So this is our array, let's say, and that array, now here we need to declare the type, right? So array syntax we have already seen. So either this way or this way, or the other one would be, so int, I'll just comment this one. So int array equals to new int of how many elements we want, 6, right? So we can declare it this way, and then arr, so with indexes again, 0 we want value as 3, arr first index we want value as what, next one is 6, right? So it would be 6. Likewise arr of 2 is what, next value 2. arr of next index would be 3. So next position we want the value to be 8. So likewise we can declare this array as well. For now, this is the easiest way, as we know we'll use only this. So int array we have already declared, we have an array now. So for this array, how to find the maximum value? So initially, how we generally compare? So whatever value we have, first one, we would assume, initially we would assume, but later at the end of program, we need to get it based on the logic. So for now, since we are assuming first value is the max value or the highest value, largest value. So here what we can say is we want to print it just the number, right? So here we can say maximum, max, I would say for now, max value, max number, or whatever it is. So that, since I am assuming it as first array element, and first array element index, since it starts with 0, so at this point of time, so since this is returning integer, that's why we will type int, and max now would have 3. And now if you just print it, would say to print the maximum number is, so as we said, it would be this one, we'll just give that. So now if we execute this, we would get maximum number is 3. So first element was assigned, and then next step you just asked to print, but you haven't written any logic, but you are just saying maximum. So what we'll do is, within this particular block, we will try to implement the logic, how to find the maximum number. So in general way, how do we do? So this number we will try to compare with the next one. So we'll say if this value is greater than this one, so if it is greater, then we'll consider this. If it is less, then we'll just swap that both, or else instead of comparing it as greater, so uh, so if 3 is greater than 6, in this 2 we know 6 is greater, right? So we will just swap that 2. So how to do that? So one condition is what I would say, if our array of I is greater than, so here I can be next elements 1 2 3 4. So as I'm saying next one, so instead of I would say 1. So our next element, if it is greater than the previous element is what? Array of this 0 0, nothing but max, so we can say this max. So array of 1, if it is greater than max, then what we will do is, for this particular thing, we will change our maximum value. So instead of 3, it would be 6, which means 6 is what? Array of 1. So max value would be equals to array of 1. So is this step first of all clear? So what are we doing? We have 0th element, and that value we have given in max. And now what we are doing is, next element, if we are checking if it is greater than our assumed value is max. So if it is greater than our assumed value, we are changing this, we are swapping again. So instead of max saying array of 0, at this point of time, if this condition satisfies, it would be array of 1. Our max element array would be array of 1. If it is not, then we just don't want to do anything. We would assume again max is what? Array of 0. Whatever we have assumed earlier, it would remain same. So this way. Now next thing, let's say if it was not 6 and 2, so this condition was not satisfied, and then whatever assumed value was there would be same, array of 0. Next 3 would again change to next element, it would check. If it is there, then only when this condition satisfies, then only our max value gets changed, else it doesn't. So what we have to do is, we have iterating this particular element in this throughout this array list, right? So how to iterate? We know we have a for loop. for int index equals to, we know it starts from 0, but 0th index we, or for now I'll give this index int start from 0, and then index should be what, less than whatever the length of our array is. How to find the length of an array? So here we can say whatever our array name is, array name dot length is a method that gives us the length of elements, like how many elements are stored in that particular array. This would return us. So array name dot length, and then same syntax for loop we used to write, right? This one, initialization, declaration, and then checking the condition, and then either incrementing or decrementing. So from 0 we want to increase till our length, right? So that's where here we would say our index should be incremented. So this is our for loop if you just want to iterate. And let's say I just not printing anything. So if I'm just iterating it from 0 to this particular element, I just want to print it one by one. So how can I print? I would have array, the name of it, and then the index. So if I say 0, so it would loop till this condition satisfied, increments. But again here if we are giving 0, what it does, it would just print same element, because we have asked to give us the 0th index element, and 0th index element is what, first element, which is 3. So you are doing something here, but you are asking to print only 0th, first element. That's why it's printing how many times, till the condition is satisfied. But do we want this way? No, we just want all the values of this, right? So which means this value, instead of a static one 0, we just want it to be incremented by 1. How are we incrementing it? So our that incremented value we are storing in index, right? So that index variable we can give it here and then run. So if you see, all these values are be printed one by one. Now this is array of index. So this is the loop wherein we can iterate through this array. Now this is fine, we just don't want that. What do we want is, we want to check the condition. So what was our condition? Our condition is this, right? I'll write it again. So since initial value, what we said is first element was highest, so that's where we have stored that in maximum value. And then what did we say? If next element we just want to compare, right? Next element is what, shouldn't be 0, it should be from 1, right? So index, instead of starting it from 0, you can change it to 1, or even if you want to start it from 0, here inside this, when we are considering, instead of index we would say index plus 1, we can say that way as well. And then that value should be greater than max. If it is next value, so starting from 0, but 0 we don't want to compare, that's why we are saying plus 1, and then it checks that. So this way we can do, else why to just make it complicated? Instead of starting it from 0, we would start it from 1, and I'll say, so next index. So array of index is what, next first one. For the first iteration it would be this value, so 6. So is 6 greater than max? And max is holding 3, right? So 6 is greater than 3, condition is satisfied. So if condition is satisfied, what do we want to do here? We want to change our maximum value from array of 0 to array of index. So this is the only logic that we can say. So now so here if you see, I'll show in debugger mode, that would be in a clear understanding. So you see here I'm executing it. So after execution, we have an array of list, right? 0 would have 3, 1 would have 6, all these elements. Now here, next statement, what are we doing? Max would have a of 0. A of 0 is what? 3. So you see a max variable would be created internally and the value would be 3. I just say run. Max is 3. After that step, now index value would be assigned with 1, and then it checks the condition. Length is what? We know 0 to 5 is what? Total 6. So length would be 6 in this case. Array dot length is 6. So till 6, from 1 to 6, it would just iterate. Means total 5 times this loop would be iterating, since it is incrementing by 1. And then first iteration, I said okay, so index was 1 and 1 index. Now ARR of 1, ARR of 1 is what? 6. So 6 is greater than, what's the max value? 3. So 6 is greater than 3, it is. Then what it does is it goes inside the loop. After this loop, what it is doing? So now max value was 3, but we are changing that max value from 3 to array of index. Array of index was first one, right? 6. So if you see, if I execute this line, so this 3 would be changed to the next value is what? 6. So it has changed. Now index value. So index value was 1. If I execute this line, it would change to 2. And then 2 is less than 6. It is. Condition gets satisfied. It goes inside this loop. Index value is 2 now. So ARR of 2. ARR of 2 is what? 2. Now ARR of 2. 2 is greater than, what is the max value? 6. 2 is greater than 6. It is not. So it shouldn't come inside this block. You see, if I execute next line, that condition doesn't get satisfied and it has not changed the max value. It is 6 only. And now what is it doing? So it is again incrementing the index value from 2. If we execute 3, it gets 3. 3 is less than this condition satisfied. Now ARR of 3. ARR of 3 is greater than max. So ARR of 3 is what? ARR of 3. ARR of 3 is 8. You see, 8 is greater than max. What is max value? 6. So 8 is greater than 6. Yes, it is. Now it should come inside this loop. You see, execute. It has come here. And now max value, it shouldn't be 6. It should be next element, which is the highest, 8. So if I execute this, it is changed to 8. And again, now index value would be changed and index value goes to 4. 4 is this condition satisfied. ARR of 4, which is 10. 10 is greater than max value. Max is 8. Condition satisfies. It goes inside and then again it changes maximum value to 10. Now next iteration, index value is 5. 5 is less than 6. Yes. And ARR of 5. 5 is what? Value 4. ARR of 5 is 4. So 4 is greater than max. Max value is what? 10. 4 is not greater than 10. So it doesn't go inside this loop. And then here it is waiting. Now index value from 5, it changes to 6. And 6 is less than 6. No, condition doesn't get satisfied. And now it wouldn't go inside this loop. It would go outside of this for loop. If you see, execute, came to this main method, execute end, and then execute it. So nothing it has printed because we have asked nothing to do. So what do we wanted to print here? So we just wanted to print the maximum value, and maximum value was this max, right? So only that we want to print. So if you execute now, you see maximum value is 10 in this array. Now you can keep on changing this loop, 6, 80, 100, 40, 9, let's say. So this values we have. Now we know what should be the output, 100, right? So if we just want to check our logic is correct or not, we just change it and then execute. It should give us 100. Is it giving? Yes. Which means whatever logic we have written is correct. So is it clear, guys? Or anyone has any doubts somewhere at whichever line or whichever point they don't understand, let me know. I'll try to make it clear. So this kind of logic, if you just try to understand later when you are doing like automating any web page or Selenium thing, in that sometimes we might have certain conditions, certain situations wherein you want to do something. So if we have this logics clear, there as well we can apply that logics. I'll just give 2 minutes if someone wants to ask any doubts or if they just want to refer.
Yeah, it is clear, Pradeep. So this is the only way we can find out the highest number in an array.
There can be other ones as well, but I have identified it this way. So yeah, logic you can internally think of. So if instead of checking it one by one, so we have the collections as well, and Java internally it has some methods. With that methods it can we can use those methods and find the highest array or sort it in particular array. So we have collection topics, so that's the other one. But logical way, yeah, this is the one. Yeah, someone, that depends again from person to person. Some other person might find some other logic. That logic you can implement and see if it is working fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if anyone doesn't have any doubts, then I'll move on with the next one. So let's say we want to just reverse a string. If we give ABCD, we just want output to be DCBA, that way. So I'll say reverse a string. Same way we can even do reverse a number. That logic, if we want to build, we can build again. So what would be the input? So input would be so one variable. That value I just want, I would give, if I give ABCD, then output should be output we want DCBA. This way if you want. So same thing we'll just implement. So we know we want to declare this string, right? So we'll take this string, the type we need to give, type is string, we know of that variable. So string we have declared, right? So how to do? Again, there are two ways, one with the logic, one with the built-in method. So first thing I would show inbuilt, how can we just reverse it? So to reverse this particular thing, we use uh, a class here. String builder is a class. Again, we just try to create the object of that string builder. So since we want to access some method inside this string builder, so this is inbuilt Java class. Again, in this inbuilt Java class, there is some methods that available. So that methods, with those methods, yeah, if it is relevant to us, if we want to use, we can use it. So replace, we want to replace something, we want to insert something. So you can just go through this classes in detail if you are interested. and then try to perform whatever you want. So here for now, I just want to reverse a number, right? Reverse a string. So for that, I'll just create object of that class. So string builder, I'll take sb equals to new string builder. So this is inbuilt Java thing. So we have created object for string builder, and then that object name dot, if we say all methods whatever we were able to see, right, that we can see it here. So we have append method, we have what, delete, compare, this thing. So what we'll do is, since we just want to store the result in some other variable, I'll declare that other variable again, which is str reverse, I will say. Or this way also I can do, or else since the string builder is giving us some append method. So generally how we do with the logic, I would say we'll take an empty string, and empty string, so from last we'll try to add it one by one. So that way also we can do, but since I'm doing it with the inbuilt method, for now I'll just append this sb with append, and then we can append that with uh, append it to our string as well. So this method, so what are we doing? So an object we have created, and this object is empty, null or something. So that null we are appending another string. So we have got this thing now, right? So this thing, once we got this particular thing, we have a method called, again in this internally, as I said, so whatever object is, we can call reverse method. So what does this method do? Initially, if we don't append, and only thing is we can reverse sb. So sb is what? Empty. Empty, if we just try to reverse, we won't be able to see any, we won't get any result output, right? So that's why what I'm doing is, first step is to append that empty value with our string. Our string is what? ABCD. So here what internally it would do is, empty value, append is nothing but plus, again here it would say ABCD. So this is the object now. Now the value of SB is this one. So this would be assigned to SB, because SB dot append is empty plus this thing. So this would be given to SB, and then in next step, what are we saying? We are just reversing it. So internally the logic is written how to reverse it. So we just have to call that method, and then let's say we just want to print it, the output. So now if I execute, you see what happens? Just SB dot reverse console. Sorry, what is this? Compilation problem. Reverse dot main 10th line. Sorry. Okay. If we miss something, not sure what's wrong with this class. I'll take the other class, or the class name as well. Sometimes it might differ. So reverse string same logic, whatever we have written, I'll write it in the class. Save, run. Yeah, you see, not sure what's wrong with that thing, so I'll just delete it. Error, the package. Okay. So there's something happening with the class. So I'll just figure out later. For now, I'll just reverse str. So we also check palindrome. Palindrome. Another thing. Let's create this thing. Are we missing something here? If this logic is written, this piece of code giving us error. Yes. What is that? No, this is not giving us an error. So it is executed. Not sure what this error is. For now, let's ignore it. I'll figure out later. From required.class file. So this we have reversed. So ABCD. Now instead of this, if we change it to Pradeep D, let's say. Now it should be DPE this way, right? So if we just execute, that logic should be there. So DPE this way. So we are reversing. We were able to reverse this thing. So we used some inbuilt method, right? So this was using string builder, inbuilt method. Using string builder, we have just reversed it. Now, how about the logic if we just want to implement? So logic would be so we have this string. So I'll just comment this one. The piece of code is called. So we have string, and first time logically how do we do? So we can create a variable, again a different variable, just the output or the result or reverse of it. So I would say a string reverse equals to, initially I would give this value as empty. So what are we trying to do here? So whatever string we have, that string we are taking another empty one. In empty, from last index we would try to assign it. So last is D, and then the next one would be P, then decrement, go back to the next one, then to the next one. So this way we are doing it, right? Same thing, we'll just try to implement it here. So we have got one empty string, and just thing is we have to uh, get the last element for now, for the first iteration. So how to get that? So this complete string, internally we need to convert it to a array. So again we can change. So all this two character arrays we can change. So string to character array, how to do? We can say whatever the string we have, dot to char array is a method which gives us all these characters in a separate array. So indexes, again internally it would be, this would be 0, this would be 1, this would be 2, this would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So array 1 we have seen, right? 0 to 7. So same way, instead of numbers it would be characters, and then that character wise from last index we would be appending it, again concatenating same way to this string. So we have got this into an array, and that array we would declare it as, let's say, some character. I would say character ch. So the type would be this way. So it gives us character array. That's why some variable name to this thing. So at this point of time, this would be divided, a string would be divided into a characters of array. So we have got characters. After character, what we can do, I would say, so our logic was add, concatenate, or append this thing, empty string with the end one. So for end one, we have a loop, no? So we'll take int index or I, anything you prefer. So index from 0, if we say from starting it would go, but we want from end. From end what? So whatever the array or string length is based on that, right? So we will take this string length for now. Whatever string we have, string length, we know how to get that string. So we would initially start from end. Sorry, this is not a method, this is the thing. So initially we would start it from the length, and then decrement the condition is till 0 only. We know the index is till 0, right? So we use that index as 0, and then I, we don't want to increment, we want to decrement. So this would be our syntax. So str of length would be what? 7. Like here pra 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this value would be 8. Now 8th value, do we want 8 so last element is 8? No, because array, it starts from 0, right? So it should not start from this length, it should be one less than that. So 7. So first time we have 7. So seventh element, what are we trying to do is, so whatever our variable is empty wala, in that plus we want the last variable. So last variable, last array, we get it in this thing. You see ch of I. So this particular, for the first iteration, would give us last character d. D we are adding to a empty one. So empty one, it would be what? So first time it would be changed to d with this particular statement. Again, that we want to store in same variable. So that's why we give that variable here, right? So in an empty thing, we are just adding empty plus the last variable. Last variable is d. Next iteration, the value would be decremented. So from 7, it changes to 6. Sixth wala element is this. So then what it does is, next element it would add, because earlier was d plus this p. This way, all this till 0, till it so actually it should not be greater than 0, it should be equal to 0, because we want 0th element as well. Else if you don't give this equal, only till one element it would leave, so it would reverse this thing. So now we can just print that reverse. So reversed string is equal to plus reverse. Now if I execute, or let's say I would execute again in debug mode for your understanding. So str, we have this value. So instead of this value, I would take a proper one. So let's say ABCD E. I would take this value, right? So ABCD E. Oh, okay. Oh, I've executed it. So debug this way. So we have string value as ABCDE, right? Next thing, string reverse is empty value we are giving. So once we execute, string reverse would be empty. Some addresses you leave that we are not bothered about that. So we have this string. After that, what are we doing? We are creating another variable called ch, and if I execute this, you would see internally what happens. So ch 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, E. So it has divided into characters, this line, from string to character array. So once we have that character array, what are we doing next line? So I is equals to string length minus 1. So string length we know it is 5. 5 minus 1, 4. So I should be 4. 4 is greater than 0. Yes. So since 4 is greater than equal to 0, it would come inside this loop. Now if I execute, you see I value is 4. Condition was satisfied. It came here. And now string reverse. You see string reverse value is empty. As soon as I execute, empty plus ch of 4. Ch of 4 is what? Last value, E. So E would be assigned to empty, this empty. If I run, so you see empty was changed to E. Now next time condition again gets satisfied, it comes inside, and now str value is E. E plus the next character. What is the next character? Previous one is D. So E would be again added with D. So ED was added. And now if you execute again, you see EDC. You see the reverse value. So EDCB and then A. Condition, all the elements were done. And now at this point of time, I value would be -1. I value -1 and then condition doesn't get satisfied. So it goes outside this. And now it is about to print this reverse string. If you execute, reverse string is this. So this is how we can implement the logic for this one. Now same way, so if you just change some value, some variable, anything, you just change it, so it would just reverse that with our logic. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J. So this way, if you just want to reverse, it would reverse that. So this is what how we can reverse this thing. So I guess this is clear. So apart from this, so now palindrome, you know, the logic for palindrome is what? So whatever the string or variable we give, it that value as well as the reverse one should be same. So whatever value we had and whatever after reversing. So for example, we have a keyword called madam, right? So this madam. So if you go just reverse this, again it would be madam. So these are nothing but palindrome. So from starting or from end, if you just pronounce it, if you see that word, it remains same. So that is palindrome. So how to check palindrome? Again, we just have to take that string, reverse it. Once we have that reverse, we have that in reverse string, right? So after reversing, so at the end, we just have to check condition. If whatever string we have given is equals to the reverse one. So to check equal, how to compare these two strings, we have method called equal. We have equal or equal ignore case. Equal ignore case would do some case sensitive. So if it is say MADAM, if we give this one, and that one, if we just want to again say, we are not care about the cases what it has, but if the meaning is same, if the words letters are same, so in that case, that kind of comparison we can use equal ignore case as well. Equal ignore case. So original string whatever we had should be equal to the reverse string. So if it is equal, then we'll say given string is palindrome. Given string is palindrome. Or again, what given string we have gave, if you just want to see, so str whatever we have given, else given string is not palindrome. The condition doesn't get satisfied. If it is not equal, we'll say not a palindrome. Now if you execute, you see madam is palindrome. And if you give something else, A, B, C, D, E, so if you just reverse this, it is not equal, right? Since it is not equal, it would give us not palindrome, given string. So I guess even this palindrome thing is clear. So Yeah, if anyone wants to ask any doubts. Yeah, if it is nothing, then there is the last program that I want to say, and that is now reversing a number. So same thing, reverse a number, and again palindrome as well, if you just want to reverse a number and palindrome. So if you want to just check that. So whatever 1, 2, 3, if we give, the output should be 3, 2, 1, just reversing, right? And then again palindrome, if whatever number we just reverse, we need to get that. So what we'll do is we'll store that in one variable again. Initially I would say a number, right? So I would use what, original, original number, I would say original number equals to 1, 2, 3, I would give it. Then later uh, in reverse of a number we want uh, the result. So it should give us, this one should hold the reverse of this. So reverse of this would be 3, 2, 1, right? So after doing some operations here, we need to have the output in this reverse variable as 3, 2, 1. So whatever we give this way. So initially we would declare it as 0. We'll start from 0. Now how to implement that logic? So we know, so if you see by visual purpose how we do, so end variable we are taking, end one we are just again same, just like string we are adding it, and then next one, and then that next one. So numerically how to get the end variable? So end variable, end digit, so that end digit we can get with so let's say if I divide this 123 by 100, so if I divide that one, or uh, just with 10 as well, like uh, 123, right? 10 into 12 times is 120, and then we get yeah. So just find a reminder of this number, whatever original number is. So original number, since I just don't want to disturb this original, I would again store this in some temp variable. Int temp equals to, so I'm assigning this original value, and then whatever changes I want to do, I would do it in temp. So temp would hold again 123, right? Same 123 it would have. So to temp, so you can call it temp or just a number, I would say for now. Better would be not to confuse. So we have number. Now number here, I would say number modulo, we are dividing it with 10, and then whatever reminder we get. So with 10, if we do 10 to 123, if we do, we get the last digit. If you see, 10 is 12 times 120, and reminder would be 3. So with this particular line of code, we would get 3, and that is what reminder would be. So int reminder is equals to this. And now if you just execute to see the reminder, reminder is equals to, if I execute this, you see what we get, 3. Now instead of 123, if you say 128, run, we get 8. So instead of 128, 176. You see, if I just execute this reminder thing, I'm getting the last digit, right? So first step is getting the last digit, and that's what we have got. Now after reminder, what do we want? So that reminder, what I will do is so that will give it to reverse number, let's say. So reverse number is equals to reverse number 0 plus whatever reminder we were getting, right? And at this point of time, if I ask to print reverse number, what it would have? So first time execute, reverse is 3. So 0 plus 3 it has done internally. 0 plus 3 it has given to 3, right? And first one we have got. Next what? So we want to now shift our focus from last digit to last but one. So how to do that? Same, whatever number we had, this number, if you just divide that number by 10, so it would omit this one, and then it would have 12. So first instance, if we do, if I run, you see number is 12. So initially it was 123. We did some operations here, and then reminder was 3, reverse was 3, number is 12. And now, so what it takes is, so again we want to do the same thing. So 12, now let's say number is 12. 12 modulo 10, we get, if you say 12 modulo 10, we get 2, right? Last digit. So if you see 2, 12, 12 modulo 10, if you do, reminder would be 2. So last digit. So same way, we just again want to repeat this one. So first time it is 3, then next time it would be what? 2. So 2, then earlier reverse was having 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. Again, it is trying to add all those digits, and then 1, 6. But we don't want to add. So only tweak or change that we have to do here is whatever the reverse number we get, we just have to multiply it with 10. So first time we get 0. 0 into 10 is 0. And then reminder is what? First time. So here again the logic would be till when we just want to iterate. So we are not sure, like till what point. That's why here we are using while loop. While loop would be what? Whatever the number, if it is not equals to 0 is our logic. Till then we just want to keep doing this same step again and again. This one, and then we just don't want to print it, let's say. So this way it would do, and at the end, after doing something, so instead of 0, after doing all this operation, it should hold this value, right? So that we would try to print equals to, so reverse string I just want to print. Now if you see step by step, so I'll execute it. So we have written already this logic, right? So after this logic, so original number is 1 2 3. Again we have assigned another number variable that we have given 1 2 3. Now if we execute this, what happens? So number not equals to 0. Number is not equals to 0. Condition is satisfied. Again reverse number is 0. So condition is satisfied, right? So it goes inside this loop, and then what it does is reminder equals to number modulo 10. So reminder is 3, because 123 divided by 10, a reminder would be 3. So 3 is reminder is holding 3. Next, so reverse is what? 0. 0 into 10 is 0 plus reminder. So reverse number, after we execute this line, from 0 it would be changed to this logic. So 0 into 10, 0 plus reminder 3, so 3. So if you execute this, reverse number is 3. Now reverse number is 3, reminder we know it is 3. Next thing, number equal to number by 10. So whatever number earlier it was, we are dividing by 10. So 123 by 10 is 12 times we get. So that quotient we give it again to number. So 1 2 would be the number. So we are just omitting the last digit. So we have got 12. Now 12 is not equals to 0. The condition is satisfied. Then what it does, it goes to the loop and reminder at this point. 12 modulo 10, 12 modulo 10 would give us 2. So if I execute this, reminder would give us 2. And then, so we have reminder 2 and reverse number is what? 3. So 3 into 10, 3 into 10 is 30, 30 plus reminder is 2, 32. So reverse number, it would be changed to 32 because of this logic. Reverse number is 3, 3 into 10, 30, 30 plus 2, 32. So if I execute, reminder is, reverse number is 32. And now number was 12, 12 by 10 is what? 1 times, 1.2. So integer, when you say 0.2 would be omitted and only 1 would be assigned to number 1. So if you see, number is 1, last digit also omitted. Now 1 is not equal to 0, condition is satisfied. Then it comes inside this loop. Number 1 modulo 10, 1 modulo 10, the reminder, if you see what it gives, reminder would be 1 because it is not divisible. So 1 we have at the end. And now reverse number is what? Reverse number earlier it was 32. So 32 into 10 is 320. 320 plus reminder is 1, 321. So 321 would be given to this loop again, to reverse number. So if I execute reverse number, so reverse number is 321. And then number, you see, number was 1. 1 divided by 10 is what? 0.1. Again 0.1, 0.1 would be omitted, only 0 would be assigned. Now if you execute, so number is 0. So 0 not equals to 0? No, condition doesn't satisfy. So it goes outside that loop and then it prints the reverse number. Reverse number is what? Whatever value it holds, it is 321. And then boom, that's it. We have got the reverse of the number. So this is how we can, whatever number now you give here, if you give 365, if you give, now if you run, we should get 563, 563. See, it is reversing. After reverse, palindrome is what? Just checking condition. So whatever the original number we had should be equals to the reverse one. Reverse one we are storing in this variable. So this one. So this one, if we do, if this condition is satisfied, we can say the number, whatever the number, it is original number, right? Initially we gave. So that original number is palindrome. So if this condition doesn't get satisfied, then we'll say it is not palindrome. And if I execute, so you see 365 is not palindrome. Palindrome is what? From starting, from ending, if you do, it should be same. So 365, instead of 365, if I say 363. So if you reverse or from starting, if you see, the number would be same, result is same, right? So this 363 should be the palindrome. So if you see, 363 number is palindrome. Even after reversing, we get the same result. That's why these numbers are called palindrome. 121, 131, likewise any number, whatever you take. So these numbers are palindrome. At 123. So this is not a palindrome. Yeah. So that's all, guys. Yeah, I'm done with this. So anyone wants to ask any doubts, they can. Are you clear, guys? Can someone at least confirm if they are clear with whatever I have explained till now? So this logics you can again implement it in your Selenium thing when you do. So some few things might be used over there. So how to compare two strings, how to compare two numbers, if something or the other we have that in automation, it might help us. Okay, then I guess if there's nothing else and we are good to close. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep.